and welcome to Effortless Qigong. My name is Jared. I am a certified Holden Qigong teacher. However, I'm now changing actually what I call myself. So I'll be updating that maybe in a future live stream. But for right now, and for all intents and purposes today, I'm the creator here of Effortless Qigong. Though we are expanding into future territory, which is gonna be really exciting. Niching down. Today what we're talking about is how to feel your qi. You know, what is this qi that we're talking about in Qigong? So if you tuned in yesterday, we talked about Qigong theory. You learned that qi is your life force energy. It's your aliveness. And today we're going to be talking about kind of the experience that people go through as they're practicing Qigong, as they're going through the mastery process, as they're trying different techniques and stuff like this. What are these sensations and feelings of Qi? And then we're gonna, at the end, before we go into the 20-minute seated session, we're going to do a little exercise so you can feel your Qi for yourself, okay? So what are the benefits of feeling your Qi? In the beginning, you know, what's nice, especially when we're holding a lot of stress and tension in our body, is that usually there's that sensation of Qi with a shift in how we feel. So we're able to kind of shift sort of that stress and tension, and that happens because we've circulated or moved that energy. We've cleared up blockages. We've brought in some harmony and some balance to the body. Because there is a connection between how you feel in your body and how healthy you are. So I think that in terms of health management, I think learning to notice sensations and discomfort and not feeling good in your body is important, because then as you're practicing Qigong, as you begin to move that life force energy, as you begin to clear away that stress and tension, what's nice is that you can start to get that benefit. So we're gonna go through a little list here of some of the sensations that people feel when they're starting to actually feel their Qi for the first time. So if you've never practiced Qigong before, this is just sort of like a quick insight into what you should expect. If you've just started practicing Qigong, maybe you start to notice these things a little bit. This will help confirm that what you're feeling actually is your Qi. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna kind of lay out the process that people go through, because there's a difference between when you're just beginning and the levels of Qi you can feel and access, and then what the mastery process is like after 6 months or a year or a couple of years of practicing. It's very different, because you're going to be deepening that experience. You're going to not only deepen your sensitivity to your life force energy, but you're also going to be deepening your actual capacity to work with the energy as well. Okay, so in the beginning, one of the things that Qi feels like when you're doing a Qigong practice is like a tingling or a warmth. Okay, so we feel this, oftentimes it's in your hands at first. It's like a buzzing or a tingling, and we especially feel that in our hands and our fingers. I personally, that's what I felt too. Some of the earliest Qigong practices I've done in my past, I would feel it in my hands, in my arms. Okay. Next, one of the things that we might notice is warmth or heat. Now, warmth or heat isn't actually Qi, but when we're doing Qigong, what's happening is that we're freeing up the blood flow in our body. We've got more circulation, and actually more energy is moving through the body. And as more energy begins to circulate and move, because there's a bit of resistance through the tendons and the muscles and the fascia, as the energy is moving through the system, that builds up heat. And so one of the signs that you've increased the circulation of your Qi is that heat, okay? And counterintuitively, something that people feel is also a coolness. The sensation of the energy moving can be that tingling. You'll feel some warmth. You also feel some coolness moving through your body as well. After that, we've got some feeling of like a pulsing, throbbing feeling. You can feel that in your acupressure points. You can feel it through your body, in your hands. And then another way that we feel our chi is this sort of magnetic feeling or this expansive feeling. So what's kind of cool too is if you've ever seen people doing qigong and they do this thing with the hands around the lower dantian, especially once you've kind of built up a bit of a charge here in your lower dantian area. In qigong theory, this is the like elixir field, and you've also got energy circulating through your hands. And of course, we build up that circulation through practice, but also through the warm up and the stretching and everything that we do in the early part of the practice. Then when you do like the playing with the chi ball movements, there's a sensation of magnetism, of expansiveness, of polarity in your hands, and that is, you're feeling your chi. Okay, your chi is of course, your life force energy. For those of you who are new, yesterday I did a whole qigong theory video. Okay, hope you don't mind. This is a live stream. I've never done this talk before, so I'll be checking my notes as I go through. But if this information is resonating with you, stick around. You can also watch the replay. If you want to watch the replay, subscribe to the channel, and you can always come back. Okay. And then some of the experience of chi we've got is a feeling of fullness. Pressure can be like an aspect of it. And then there's like a feeling of like a flowness or a fluidness. I know, I'm just kind of thinking back to, I say I've got my notes and I've got some memories here. I did a shiatsu session last week, or was it on Monday? I guess it was on Monday. And at the end of the session, he did this like brushing. So he brushed the legs and the arms. And it was like this watery, kind of liquidy, airy feeling when the chi freed up and was circulating. So that felt really good. So shiatsu is a type of chi massage, basically. And what's nice too, the first time I went and did a shiatsu was during the winter. And honestly, I think the winter here in Montreal really drained me. And I think I was overdoing the caffeine, honestly. And I was just a bit zonked, okay? I was really thinking about my business and everything. So I knew that this shiatsu session was good to help me kind of rebalance and recenter. And I noticed as he was doing the acupressure points through the body, there's like a feeling of warmth, and it kind of, I kind of noticed my sensations in my mind with like a color. So it was like a golden warmth as he was working through all the acupressure points and opening up the flow in the body. And so that felt really good. And those are signs that your chi is warming up and activating, okay? So have you ever felt your chi? Is that something you even believe in? Leave me a comment here if you're following along. You may feel the cross sensations. Yeah, there's a cool saying here from classical Qigong text, which is at first the chi feels like ants crawling or water trickling, which is true as you're doing the practice. And later, as you develop up the chi, it begins to feel like clouds drifting. Okay. Cool. All right, so let's kind of go through the initial stages. What can you expect as you get into a Qigong practice, actually feeling your Qi? So we're gonna go through like beginners. What are you gonna feel as a beginner? Let's start off right from the beginning. The first time you practice a Qigong set, let's say you did one of my 10-minute routines here on YouTube, you're gonna shift from feeling like stressed and tense to feeling more relaxed and energized. That's like right away. Most of the time people, when they first try out a Qigong practice, Let's say I go to an office, people are coming in during lunch usually, and in just like 10 or 15 minutes of leading them through, after we've done that little session, people feel much more relaxed, much more open, more playful, more clear-minded. They're more open to opportunities and experiences. So that's kind of like this initial state shift you're gonna feel as you do a Qigong practice. In terms of like really feeling that Qi or the movement of Qi, because there's a difference between what you're feeling being Qi and what you're feeling being the signs of Qi moving or the activation of Qi or all these things, okay? So we're gonna go through some signs that you're either cultivating Qi, you're warming up the Qi is beginning to move, okay? So the first thing you're gonna feel is tingling or buzzing in your hands. You may feel some hot or cold sensations, a feeling of heaviness or lightness, subtle itching, and maybe even you get like some tiny muscles twitching. Notes from masters: at the beginning, what you feel is not the Qi itself, but the effective Qi stirring in your nervous system and your tissues, right? That makes sense. Okay, so next stage. So once you've begun to consistently practice Qigong, you might start to notice some flowing or streaming sensations of Qi in the body, and that can be like along the limbs, along the spine, and I think this is usually cultivated by regular Qigong practice is going to kind of clear out the stress from the body. It's going to open up the meridians. You're going to sort of build up some of that Qi reserve, the strengthening, the tonification of your Qi. And as well as you're tuning in, you're developing that proprioception in the body, which is going to allow you to feel more of the energy in your body, okay? The next thing you might start to feel as you're practicing Qigong, and we're going to do a little bit of this today later in the live stream, probably in about 15 minutes, is you can start to actually feel like a magnetism or a push-pull in between the hands, and that's like an initial sort of early sign for developing your feeling of the life force energy in the hands. Again, this is like a subtle feeling. We're not like moving objects here. Qigong is, you've got this very subtle life force energy that you can work with. Man, there's a lot of people jumping in my stream saying the same thing. I don't know why. Okay. Next we've got, so as you're doing the Qigong practice, you know, you're freeing up tension, you're learning to relax your body more. And as you learn to relax the tissues and the muscles, and we go through the warm-ups, the stretching, the breathing, and then we go into the flow, you start to actually feel the streaming currents of energy moving through the body. And that's a very real and tangible feeling that we cultivate through the practice. Cool. Yeah, and one of the things that I was surprised by, because when I first got into a Qigong practice, like I had studied like the ideas from the nervous system and the mind-body connection, and I had learned that like, okay, our mind and our body are unity, and that we're holding stress and tension in our body. And also, I got into Qigong practice because I was studying meditation and journaling, and I'd read a book on embodiment practices, so on movement and how that can heal us. And then, man, I was having like back problems. Like my back is pretty stiff and tight. And so when I got into Qigong practice, I was really drawn to the gentle stretching, the mindfulness aspects, the meditation aspects. And so it brought a lot of things together for me. But the actual Qi, I couldn't tell if that was just like an ancient belief or different way of looking at the same experiences that I've already experienced my entire life. And then Lee Holden, my teacher, he would do this like the chi ball, working with the chi ball. And it was like maybe a month or two in of practicing, I actually could feel the energy in the lower dantian and through the hands. And then I was like, okay, so chi is actually a real phenomenon. And of course, growing up in a Western part of the world, it's like, well, what is chi? Is it like an actual energy, or is it like am I just feeling something that's not actually there? So you have all these questions you're going through. At least for me, I did, because I didn't want to believe in something that wasn't actually real. And so torturing myself because I'm like kind of a perfectionist. Anyway, I continued to practice, continued to read books, continued to remain open-minded, and it's a real phenomenon that you can experience. Also, it's kind of interesting too. The more you read about qi and like you study its Chinese philosophical roots and kind of how the ideas of qi were developed, the experiences, and just how different ancient Chinese philosophers and physicians and doctors looked at the human body, also the world. The idea of qi is actually really interesting, and it brings together a lot of like if in the West, when we look at phenomena, we're like slicing the world apart into a lot of individual little pieces. Qi actually unifies a bunch of stuff together, and it's more of a holistic lens, which I think is really interesting. Okay. So I think we've like I've touched upon a lot of the early sensations of qi for now, which is I'm totally fine with leaving it there. So we talked about when you start to practice qigong, you're gonna feel that tingling, the warmth. You're gonna feel a shift from being like stressed and tense to more relaxed. And then as you've been practicing for a while, you can actually start to feel the currents of energy moving through your body, the magnetism with the lower dantian. And you can also start to feel the subtle energy around the body, which is really cool. And then it's really interesting. You start to notice this connection between your thoughts, your body, the qi, and how you can use visualization and intention to also move this qi. Very interesting. Like they've done a lot of research recently over the past couple of years into the placebo effect, and so we know that the placebo effect does play a role in health and healing. And part of the reason that is from a qigong perspective, a lot of science is trying to control for the placebo effect, but actually the mind moving the qi is something that we actually, in qigong theory, they're actually using placebo intentionally. They didn't call it placebo, they just called it working with your energy, working with your mind and your body. So that's very interesting. Here's a little quote. When qi moves freely, the body becomes empty yet full. Still, but dynamic, the practitioner does not feel qi, but is qi. Okay, some things not to worry about. So if you're just getting into a qigong practice, here's what you shouldn't worry about. Let's say you do your first practice, and the teacher's saying feel the energy in your hands, or feel the lower dantian, and you don't feel anything. That's actually not a problem. It's totally normal. It can actually take weeks or months of training to begin to feel your qi. Part of the reason is we're developing this awareness. We live in a culture where we're kind of numb to our bodies. We don't really tune into our bodies. And just think about even how we were educated. You sat in a room, on a chair, you listened to a teacher, you wrote things down, you did projects and assignments. You did sports and stuff, but you probably never really tuned in to your body system. So let's say you're 20 years old or 30 years old. That means 20 or 30 years of never actually tuning in and feeling. And so when someone starts talking about qi, not only do you not know that that's a real thing, but you're probably not even open to the possibility of it, because that type of exploration of reality is so foreign to you. You probably need someone to tell you that qi exists, who's an authority figure, instead of actually committing to practicing qigong 3 times a week for 3 months and seeing if it's a real phenomenon. So that's an unfortunate part of being a Western mind. Also, don't worry that like your experience of qi is going to be different every time you practice. You know, there's that saying, no person enters the same stream twice. Every time we show up to our qigong practice, it's going to feel different. You might do like a routine one day, the exact same routine, and feel nothing. You know, it's good, you feel the stretch, you feel the movements. And then you can do that same routine the next day, and whoa, you really feel something, okay? That's because depending on our mood, the environment, how well we've slept, all these different factors can play a role into how we feel with each practice. Also, don't worry if you feel something unpleasant during your practice. Like, you know, when you start to free up your body's energy, you could actually cry, you could feel anger, you could feel so many different emotions while you're doing a qigong practice. Part of the reason is that we're so distracted most of the time with our cell phones and everything like that. When we actually tune into the body and do these movements, things can rise up. We're also freeing up energy. We're freeing up that emotional energy and allowing it to move. And that can also, unfortunately, let some uncomfortable feelings enter the body. But the trick there is to just note it, be mindful. As long as it's something you can breathe and work through, then that's good. There's a little quote here. If you're seeking qi, like you really want it to exist, it's probably not the best way to go about qigong practice. I would advise you, if you're alright getting into qigong and you really, you know, it's okay to want to feel the qi, but you're better off just relaxing, doing the movements and the techniques, being open and curious and feeling into the body. And I think as you start from that place of openness and curiosity, you're starting to feel the energy, then it makes more sense to feel it, and then you can actually use your mind to lead the qi as you deepen the practice over time. Okay, so here's like a little recap here. So these qi sensations that we talked about during a qigong practice, they're useful signposts that we're moving the energy, that we're freeing things up, that the work we're doing is effective. But our real goal in a qigong practice is more harmony, you know, feeling more attuned to ourselves. We want to improve our vitality and our energy. Like my sister, I was visiting my sister and she was really tired and groggy, and I was like, let's do a 10-minute qigong session. And after 10 minutes, her voice was more musical, she had more color in her face, and I think she was able to work a little more clearly. And then we're also trying to focus on developing our clarity as well. We're not chasing qi sensations in qigong, that's really not the main point. And as we deepen our qigong practice, the qi goes from feeling like this special, exciting thing to just feeling like a more intimate and natural part of our existence and our being. It's kind of like feeling an emotion or something like that. And advanced qigong teacher or practitioners, they're less interested in the feeling of qi. This is sort of the initially when we haven't practiced, it's interesting. And we're more interested on merging with qi, working with it, cultivating it, strengthening it, opening up the circulation. And it could be for just like overall maintenance of health and well-being, cultivating inner peace, harmony, developing wisdom, learning to control our emotions better. Like these are all the benefits of a Qigong practice. Okay, so we got 5 minutes here before I dive into the guided Qigong session. So let's see if I can give you a quick little taste of feeling Qi for the first time. So what we're gonna do is just gonna rub the fingernails together. These are the ends of a bunch of meridian points. So rub the fingernails. Rub, rub, rub. Then inhale through the nose. Then blow. And then slow down. And then feel into your hands. If you feel like a tingling and a buzzing, even if it's really subtle, in the tips of your fingers, in through your hand, that is your Qi. Okay, that little buzzing, that little tingling, that electrical energy in your hands is your Qi. And again, that's just like the tip of the iceberg of what we're interested in here with the Qigong practice, but you can try it again. Just rub those points together, rub your fingernails. Inhale and blow. And we'll slow it down. Tune in, just like close your eyes, feel your hands. You feel that buzzing, that tingling, maybe it's a coolness or a warmth. That is your Qi, that is your life force energy. You've activated it just a little bit with that quick little practice. Now in a Qigong routine, we're gonna go through a whole series of movements. Stretching, activating, shaking, self-massages, breathing to really activate and open up the body's energy. And then we go into a nice flow at the end where we do the slow movements to circulate the life force energy through the body. And that helps to nourish the organs and the body, to clear stress, free up digestion, all kinds of stuff. Okay, so I just did a little introduction to how to feel your Qi, what it feels like to feel Qi. And then of course I've got a whole bunch of routines here on YouTube you can do. I've kind of laid out a basic, very basic overview of the initial phases of exploring your own life force energy here on the channel. That's why I've got like 100 routines here on YouTube now that you can check out. So I'm gonna take a quick little break here. I'm gonna go grab my tablet, and then when I come back, I'm gonna do a 20-minute seated Qigong exercise, okay? You can follow along. Of course, you can subscribe to the channel and come back later and rewatch it. It's up to you. I'll be back. Okay guys, so initially I was gonna do a standing routine, but honestly I was gonna do a doors and it's really not that nice. So I thought I would just go through another seated practice. I think a seated practice is cool too because it's much more easy to follow along with. If you're here for the practice, let me know in the chat. If we're just hanging out, totally cool. So yeah, if you're new to the channel, my name is Jared, and I'm actually I'm a high performance energy coach, and one of the key focuses I have in my practice is a Qigong practice. I think that Qigong is a foundational practice for regulating and understanding our energy, and then from there, and everything I'm teaching going forward, it really builds off of that. Okay, so let's dive in here. Just let me pull up my little plan. All right, we're gonna dive into a 20-minute seated practice. Feel free to follow along, even if you're only here for a few minutes. Just you can start and stop at any time. You're gonna get some benefit from it. So let's tune in. So let's place one hand on the chest, one hand on the belly. And we're gonna inhale into our belly, expand the ribs and expand the chest. Then exhale from your chest, ribs, belly. And inhale, belly, ribs, chest. Exhale, chest, ribs, belly. Placing the hands on the abdomen and chest, help to invite the body to relax. Feel your weight on the cushion beneath you. Okay, now take your hands out to the side. Keep like a light, loose fist. I'm gonna inhale, open up. And exhale down, pushing all the air out. And then inhale, open up the rib cage. So here we're exhaling, we're moving the spine down, we're massaging the internal organs. And as we inhale, we're keeping the hands nice and loose. We're opening up the rib cage. And by breathing fully and massaging the spine, it helps to clear stress, mental fog, improve focus. Our spine is essentially a continuation or extension of our brain. So we want to make sure we're keeping it nice and healthy, strong and supple. We tend to build up a lot of excess tension in our back and our ribs all day because we're not breathing fully most of the day, so the ribs get tight and constricted, and then the back gets stiff and tight, and that can lock in stress and tension. So we want to inhale. Even just doing this 10 minutes a day in the morning, if you don't have time for a workout, you can just do 10 repeats of this, and that's gonna feel really good. And then one more time. Exhale, arms down to the side. And let's do dog wags the tail. So, wag from side to side. It's important to move the spine in all directions. Might feel some cracking, some popping. Okay, cool. Next we're gonna do wrist shaking. So this one's funny, looks kind of fun. You're gonna have your hands out, you're gonna shake them, inhale through your nose, and exhale, sigh. Inhale, exhale, inhale, and exhale. And then switch other way, shake your wrists, inhale through your nose, and exhale through your mouth. One more time, inhale through your nose, and exhale through your mouth, and slow it down. Cool. Now you've opened up. If you're following along, you probably feel some warmth, buzzing and tingling in your hands. And again, that's the activation of your chi. When we free up that stress and tension, we activate these acupressure points through the hands and wrists. It helps to free up the heart energy, pericardium energy. And obviously there's tons of acupressure meridians and points to the hands. So it's going to help with the whole health of the energetic system, which is cool. Okay, now we're going to oil the joints. So yeah, roll them up, roll them back. We tend to hold a lot of our stress and tension in our neck and shoulders. Super good to oil the shoulders every day. And change direction, rolling forward. Very cool. Now lift up the shoulders, inhale, and drop. And again, inhale up, and drop. One more time. Cool. This next move we're gonna do is a spinal wave. This is again one of those movements that's really good at actually moving energy through the body. Microcosmic orbit, clearing those pathways, but also like it's important that we move the spine because we end up holding a lot of stress and tension to the spine. This is super good for clearing that out. So chin up, roll forward, and exhale. Stick the chin forward, roll forward, and then roll the spine up. Helps them move, stretch all those vertebrae. Cool. Now let's knock up and down the sternum. And then sigh. Then knock just below the collarbone. And other side. All right. Now we've activated the body, done some stretching, some activation, some breathing. Let's do open the flow. So inhale, arms float up. And exhale, float down. And inhale up. And exhale. Inhale. And exhale. Now let's go over to one side. Inhale, arms up. Turn. Exhale, let go. I'm going to hold arms up in front. Low embrace the tree. As you exhale, one arm comes down, palm facing the earth. We're going to turn to your right, and then switch hands, coming across. Don't worry about being perfect. Switch, come across. And then we can come down. I'm just doing a very condensed version here today. Work with the chi ball. Relax arms down to the side. Take some breaths. Cool. Then we'll finish with pulling down the sky. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, float down through. Then inhale. And exhale. And cross hands over the belly, take a few breaths. Cool, and so I condensed that. It wasn't quite 20 minutes today, but we're shortening it down. That's totally fine. Cool. All right. So, in this live today, I talked about how to feel your chi and what are the feelings and sensations in the beginning that our chi is beginning to move, that we're beginning to work with it. Then I went through a short little 13-minute session, just boiled that down. That's interesting. Cool. So, I'm going to continue through with this live series season. I'm just going to say, like, straight up from an honest perspective, no one's really watching these, so that's fine. I'm kind of just doing this more so for practice. So that's the main focus right now. Practicing, getting through these. Obviously, didn't market these super heavily, so if you're tuning in, saying hi, what's up? Welcome to Effortless Qigong. And yeah, and part of what I want to work on, part of what I want to practice is being able to maintain a high level state and then keep sharing information even if people are just popping in and popping out of a live stream. You think with 1,000 subscribers, like more people would join a live, but I guess that's not the case. You have to learn through direct experience. So that's cool. yeah, I guess as closing statements, I'm going to continue with these live sessions for the rest of the week. So what's tomorrow? Yeah, tomorrow we're going to go over like how to relax your muscles in more detail. I'm probably going to honestly condense these into half-hour sessions instead of full hours, just because I've got other things to do, and if no one's watching, I'd rather just condense it into a half hour, do it all tightly and succinctly. That way people can watch the replays later on as well. So tomorrow we're going to do how to relax your muscles, and we're going to do a short guided meditation, really focus on relaxing the muscles and tuning in. After that, Saturday, we'll talk briefly about the wood element, what that means in Qigong theory, and then we'll just do a little tiny wood flow. Actually, we're going to condense this really into half an hour, just to kind of give people an example. And then Sunday, I'm just going to talk about connecting Western and Eastern ideas on energy management. And then, again, I think I'm just going to do a tiny little flow at the end, guys. That's it. I'm going to condense this whole thing. So I'm going to put up a new schedule probably later today, condensing everything down. I think this makes it more watchable and consumable for people in the future. Also, final announcement here as I'm wrapping up this live stream is I'm switching from being a Qigong teacher, guys, going forward. So this winter season was a season where I built the website, built my newsletter, launched my first coaching program, and grew a lot, I think, as a coach and a teacher. And so now what I'm doing is I'm just kind of reflecting on all that experience. And through my contemplations, I realized that I'm no longer just going to be like a generic Qigong teacher, because when I went through that coaching program with my first client, I realized that what I was teaching them was far more high level than just Qigong. And I realized that Qigong is actually like a central pillar to what I'm doing, but I am actually not just a Qigong teacher anymore. First of all, I just don't think I don't think there's enough people that are really going to be interested in just learning Qigong by itself. I don't think people are just going to see the value in that. And also, I'm more ambitious than just teaching Qigong, honestly. And so what I'm switching to is I'm teaching energy mastery now for high achieving spiritual people. When I really think about the person who went through my coaching program and what they were looking for and who they were, they were a professional musician, really ambitious, really busy, and looking to use Qigong and these techniques to really master themselves. So I'm now switching away from just teaching Qigong generically. I'm probably going to be taking down a lot of the routines on the channel, just because some of them are outdated, they're older. I'm going to unlist them. I'm not going to delete them. So if you want to watch those routines, you have them in a playlist, you can, but I'm going to be delisting a bunch of stuff. And I'm going to be redoing the website, redoing my Instagram, and redoing everything, because that's sort of where I'm left with is, I think to be useful or valuable, you have to really focus on a particular target audience. And so I think this year was well spent in figuring these things out and doing the research. So yeah, that's pretty exciting for me. And all the rest of the week I'm going to be contemplating that. Cool. Yeah, so essentially, my new niche I'm moving into is a high performance energy mentor for spiritual and creative professionals. So probably gonna be even changing the name Effortless Qigong. Um, I like the name Effortless. I think that's cool. So I'm probably gonna keep Effortless in the name somehow, but I'm no longer just teaching Qigong. And I've been kind of trying to figure out this for a while because I'm thinking, I'm gonna be taking like life or various coaching courses in the future here. I'm already coaching, but I'm gonna be like deepening those skill sets. A mindfulness coaching certification and breathwork certification. And I'm thinking, well, Qigong, when people think of Qigong, they're thinking just like these routines or something. And there's just so many other Qigong teachers out there that, I think I'm just kind of swimming, not really doing anything different than these guys. Anyone can just post a Qigong routine. And that's kind of interesting. So we're switching to high performance energy mentorship for spiritual and creative professionals. So if you're like, doesn't matter what industry you work in, if you are an accountant, a musician, a graphic designer, a coach, or in any of these professions, basically, my goal is going to help you to increase your energy, become a high performer, improve your high performance skills, and coach you toward energy mastery. So that's what we're switching to. Thanks so much for tuning into this live stream, folks. I'm on to the next thing here. Stay well, stay happy, peace.